Hey guys, welcome back, or if this is your first time, welcome. Today we're going to do a tutorial on the look I'm wearing today, and that is featuring the new Pretty Naked 2 palette from 100% Pure. Now, if you're a fan of palettes from other brands like Urban Decay, Tarte, NARS, or Becca maybe, you're really going to love this because it doesn't have the toxic chemicals, but the payoff and color saturation and pigmentation is still there. So if you're interested, please stick around and we'll get started. So I've already primed my face with the Unik Age Defying Day Cream. It's a hyaluronic acid based day cream, so it makes a great moisturizing primer. And then a nice sheared out application of the Naturale Foundation. I'm then going to go in with a little bit of the Naturale Concealer and use it as an eyelid primer. Many of the shadows in the Naked 2 palette have a little bit of shimmer, so it's really important to have a nice base down so that they don't get creasy or accentuate any fine lines around the eyes. So you want to make sure you just have a nice solid base down covering the eyelid and all the way up to the eyebrow. So here is the Pretty Naked 2 palette. You can see it's a mix of warm and cool tones. We're going to go in first with actually the blush as our crease color or transition color to give it a little bit of warmth. I'm just going to move this back and forth really quickly in the crease of the eye, and you don't have to be super specific or precise with this, just moving it back and forth, adding that pop of warmth in the crease. And we're going to go in and clean that up with the eyeshadow in a minute, so just really wiggle that in there and just move the brush back and forth until you feel like the pigment is pretty dispersed and off of the bristles. Now we're going to go in with the eyeshadow in Beam, and I'm just going to get my brush really saturated and I'm just going to pat that down. This one probably is the most shimmery, or I guess most metallic, so you really just want to lay that down really nice and even so it doesn't get patchy, and then you can kind of smooth over it when you're done. I'm also going to try and shoot for a cut crease look, so you want to make sure you cover your entire eyelid and keep that line right at your crease pretty sharp. You don't want to blend it in with that transition color, so just patting it down in a nice thick application. Another good thing about patting it down is it will not allow the pigment to kind of fall down as much. You're not moving it around or sweeping it back and forth, knocking it off as you go, so patting it down will keep the fallout to a minimum. Now I'm going to go in with the Shadow Shade Splendor, and I'm using a Modern Minerals pencil style brush. I'm just going to go in the corner of my eye, kind of make a V shape from the crease to the bottom of my lash line, and just blend that in a little bit for a nice smoky ombre effect. And it blends really beautifully with the other shade Beam, so you can just kind of buff this out to your liking. It's also good to remember that wherever you place your brush down, anywhere on your face is where it's going to be the most pigment, so definitely pop that brush down in the very corner of your eye as opposed to the center or middle of the lash line. And again, you can buff this out as much as you want. You can make it as smoky as you want, depending on if this is a daytime or a nighttime look. I kind of shot somewhere in the middle, but you can definitely adjust this to your liking. Definitely got a little out of hand there, so I'm just going to go in and clean that up. I'm going to use the brush that I used for the blush color and just buff that out a little bit and just sweep it back and forth so that I don't take off any color. And then I'm just going to go in on the other side because keeping it even is key. And of course, after looking at it, I'm just going to go in and clean a little more, buff out that edge, add a little more of the blush color, and just keep that fairly warm. And of course, once I'm done there, I'm going to go in with my Furless Causemetics buffer brush. This brush doesn't have any pigment on it. It's just to actually buff things out, make sure there are no harsh lines, and then I'm just going to clean up any fallout below my eye. This is also the reason that we haven't put our concealer on or set anything under the eye. Speaking of under the eye, we're going to take the shade Vivid and a very small definer brush and just work that underneath the eye for a nice pop of color and also give it kind of that romantic smoky effect. I'm going to go in with an eye pencil now and line my top and bottom waterline. This is like an aubergine color. You could use brown, you could use black, depending on the intensity you want for your look. But I just thought the aubergine color was really complementary to the Vivid shade. Of course, if you're not into lining your waterline, you could definitely skip this step because our next step, I'm going to go in and do the eyeliner on the top with a black pencil. And I'm just going to do a nice, thick, kind of quick swipe, nothing precise about it, because I am going to go back in and smudge this out to mimic our smoky effect elsewhere. This is a Thrive Causemetics eyeliner, so it does have a little smudger on the end, but you could use an eyeliner brush, you could use a pencil brush, anything to kind of wiggle that back and forth and diffuse the pigment a little bit and get the shape that you want. I always wing mine out on the ends, but if that's not what suits your eye shape, you certainly don't have to do that. Now we're going to go in with a little additional step. You certainly don't have to do this, but I'm taking that purple Vivid eyeshadow color and a small eyeliner brush and going over our pencil work. This is just going to add another dimension of color, bring out those purple tones, and it's also going to set your pencil, so you're going to have a little more longevity by putting a powder on top. You can also define your shape a little more, or if your smudging got a little out of control, you can definitely correct that in this step. Now I'm going to go in with the 100% pure mascara. It is fruit pigmented. It smells like blueberries. Not that that matters, but my method of applying mascara is always in halves or even in thirds. My first shot, I go in and I just get the base and up to half of my lash and let that dry. And then I go back to it and go from the base to the top. That way you have a little more volume on the root, and it gives you a nice voluminous effect, and then you can take it all the way up to the ends, and it's not going to be thick and cakey or need to be separated. So if you kind of do it in two steps, it kind of gives you that voluminous look without being too chunky. Now I'm going to go in with the All Naturale Concealer. This is a great full coverage concealer, and I'm going to pat it down with my fingers anywhere that I might have dark circles, anywhere that I might have hormonal redness or any blemishes, just anything that I would like to cover. And then if you've watched any of our other videos and seen me do this, it can get quite tedious, but I'm just very routine about the way I apply concealer. I take this Zoeva Causemetics buffer brush and pat it out and disperse it that way. For me, this just gives the most believable and natural looking finish while also being full coverage. So anywhere that you want to keep the pigment really strong, you would want to pat it out to disperse it, and anywhere that you want to kind of clean up or remove, you would start to sweep. So you can see I'm just patting around and everywhere and just making it look really nice and natural, blending it into my pores, and then underneath the eye you can sweep a little bit if you want to clean up that shadow, or if you're wanting to make that line near the end, near the cat eye, really sharp. You would do that there, especially in any creases. If you feel like you've gotten too much, you can sweep that away, or any shadow near the eyebrows, which I did my eyebrows, by the way, thank goodness. Now I'm going to go in with just a translucent powder and set that work. You definitely want to set any concealer right away before you start moving your face, because once it migrates into any creases, that's where it's going to stay. Now I'm going to go in with the 100% pure Cocoa Pigmented Bronzer, and this is the Airy Perez. It's actually a powder brush, but I just love the way it applies things very sheer. So I've just barely put the brush into the bronzer, and right now I'm just kind of bronzing, not contouring per se. I'm just warming up my face all over. I tend to be quite fair, so So I just want to give myself a little bit of all over color, and then in a moment you'll see I go back with a little more concentrated color for some definition. And you could just take an angled brush or a contouring brush and just put it kind of more concentrated into the Cocoa Pigmented Bronzer and just place it where you would want that extra definition. For me, I just go under the cheekbones and the temples just to give my face a little bit more of a narrow look. Now we're going to go in with the blush color, and it is in the shade Glow. And what I love about these palettes is the colors are so pigmented, so just a little goes a long way. And I just want to hit the apples of the cheeks because we already have color kind of in the contours of the faces, so we just want to accentuate that by kind of patting on the apple of the cheek and then blending it upwards towards our bronzer so it's a seamless look. Just going to go in with a clean brush and buff out any harsh lines that my bronzer or blush might have left behind. Now we're going to go in with the highlighter shade in Illume and just hit all of the high points and the cheekbones. You can do the bridge of the nose, the Cupid's bow, and this is just a really gorgeous highlighter. It's soft, it just has the right amount of glow, but it's not like a disco ball, so it's very appropriate for day and nighttime. Probably a little more appropriate for mature skin as well. It doesn't have any large flecks of glitter, so you just want to go about highlighting and accentuating parts of your face that could use a little extra glow. And as always, I'm a big fan of setting your makeup, so you can use any toner that you have on hand to set that and bring that moisture level up. And then we're going to go in with a pinky nude liner. Nothing super obvious, just something to give a little more definition to the lips, because we're going to go in with the 100% pure gloss in pink caramel. It's absolutely one of my favorite colors ever because it is suited to so many makeup looks and so many skin tones. Because the eyes and the blush are kind of the feature of this palette, you definitely don't want to overdo it on the lip. So this is the perfect shade to kind of accentuate and top everything off. So that's it for today's look featuring the 100% Pure Pretty Naked 2 palette. I got mine at the Choosy Chick along with all of the other all naturel products and 100% pure products. So if you want to pop on over to thechoosychick.com and get some shopping done, the code PURSUIT will always save you 10% on your entire order. So thanks so much for watching. We hope that you enjoyed it and learned a few things, and please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.